Good afternoon, Dunkirk and Fredonia listeners, and welcome back to News at Noon. News at Noon is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. I'm News Director Lee Pye, here today with my news assistants Dan Quagliana, Sara Lodespoto, Joshua Ribakove, as well as Hunter Halterman and Sports Director Matt Volz. With this top of the hour update, we'll bring you the latest on SUNY Fredonia's campus news and events, sports, weather, and music, as well as national and international news. First up, let's go to the event bulletin for this week. Join Hail Fredonia Records at your own risk for the Johnny Gruesome movie night. Grab snacks and participate in raffles and get your very own Hail Fredonia Records trading card. Experience Johnny Gruesome yourself in the Williams Center MPR from 7 to 9:30 p.m. on October 14th. The Career Development Office Graduate School Fair is happening. More than 60 institutions will be in attendance for representing hundreds of graduate programs, with Fredonia's own grad programs also featured. Related presentations will take place during the week of the event, including a grad school preparation program by Career Development and the Office of Graduate Studies, and workshops by the UB School of Medicine and the UB College of Arts and Sciences. This event will be hosted on Tuesday, October 24th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the Williams Center MPR. The Brothers Grimm fairy tales come to life in the production Terror in the Trees, Twisted Fairy Tales, presented by Fredonia Immersive Theater. Make your way to Fredonia Woodlot on October 20th, 21st, 27th, and 28th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. for a horror-filled experience with creeps, scares, and fairy tales like you have never seen before. A reminder that the trail contains strobe lights, jump scares, loud noises, and will be held outdoors. That's it for the information through the grapevines. Next up, we'll bring it to Dan for our latest campus news updates.
Thanks, Lee. On Wednesday, SUNY Fredonia alum James Colin, a 2016 graduate with double majors in History and Social Studies Adolescent Education, will be giving a talk titled City of Distant Neighbors, Segregation in Buffalo, New York, 1934 to 1961. Colin will examine how racist government policies and white fears of declining property values shaped Buffalo from the 1930s to the 60s. For his research, Colin was given the State University at Buffalo's History Department's Best Master's Thesis Award. Colin's talk, which is co-sponsored by the History Club, will be held in room S204DE in the Williams Center at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Dr. Valerie Coleman, an internationally known flautist and composer, has been named the second Claudette Sorrell Visiting Artist in Fredonia School of Music. Named one of the top 35 women composers by the Washington Post, Coleman will hold a residency from October 12th through the 14th. On the 12th, the residency will begin with a panel discussion about women in current music at 8 p.m. in Rausch Recital Hall. The next day, there will be a chamber music recital at 8 p.m. in Rausch, with performances of Coleman's work by School of Music students and faculty. To conclude the residency, a performance of Coleman's work Umoja, Anthem for Unity, by the Fredonia College Symphony, will be held at 8 p.m. Dr. Coleman is planning to return to Fredonia for a follow-up residency in the spring. On October 18th and 19th, Writers at Work, an alumni writers in residence series, will be hosting a visit of Mr. Carl Holz, a 1973 graduate of Fredonia with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Holz is the former president of Disney Cruise Line and New Vacation Operations. On Wednesday, October 18th, Holz will meet with honors and business students before hosting a meet and greet at 3 p.m. in the Williams Center, room S204DE. On Thursday, October 19th, Holz will host a talk titled The Lost Art of Writing at 9:30 a.m. At noon, the event Disney Fans and More, which focuses on career preparation, will be hosted in the Career Development Office. Finally, in the Williams Center, in room S204ABC at 3:30 p.m., Holz will host an event titled Success After Graduation, ROI, where he will talk about both his experience at Fredonia as well as his career path. That's it for campus news. Now let's send it back to Lee.
Thanks, Dan. Next up, we have local news. Yesterday afternoon in Portland, New York, a vehicle collided with a train on Munson Road. The Chautauqua County and Portland Sheriff's Department, Chautauqua County and Brockton EMS arrived at the scene, where a 12-year-old and a 45-year-old were injured. There's no other updates at this time. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Northern Chautauqua, also known as UUCNC, is hosting a dinner to honor the Share the Plate recipients from the last 2 years. The UUCNC is a source for committing to nonprofit organizations whose actions are consistent with the organization's principles. Since the year 2013, 100% of the non-pledge money received from the Share the Plate recipient has been given to these chosen agencies. Since the summer of 2023, UUCNC has donated over $35,000 to the nonprofit organizations. Some of them include the Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Chautauqua County, American Red Cross, Chautauqua Blind Association, Chautauqua Citizens Respond to Climate Crisis, Child Advocacy Program of Chautauqua County, and so many more. The dinner for the Share the Plate recipients and the community will be on Wednesday, October 25th at 6 p.m. at 222 Temple Street in Fredonia. In Cherry Creek, the Pine Valley Central School bus aide, Haley Smock, is having a benefit in her name to help raise money for her battle with cancer. The fundraiser will have a basket raffle where the community is encouraged to donate anything to help with the cause. For donations, you can contact Darlene Morrison at 716-499-1618. The benefit will be held on Thursday between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. at the Trillium Lodge at 6830 Main Street in Cherry Creek. That's all for your local news update. Let's bring it to the sports guy, Matt Volz.
Thanks, Lee. The women's tennis team pulled off an upset victory over SUNYAC rival Plattsburgh on Saturday, winning 5-4. Senior Caitlin Snyder and junior Bernadette Jens were two-time winners on the day as they took home wins in first and second doubles and teamed up to win first doubles. Freshman Lucy Prevette dominated in third singles, and junior Sierra Allen sealed a victory with a 7-5 win in the third set of her fifth singles match, the longest match of the day. The win brought the team's record to 2-9, and they will finish their season on Wednesday with a non-conference matchup at Penn State Barron at 6 p.m. The women's swimming and diving team began their season with a win on Saturday, beating Pitt Bradford 97-74 in Bradford. Junior Megan Orange finished first in both the 50 and 100-yard freestyle events, while the young relay team of sophomores Alex Mecca and Ali Visconti and freshman Angie May and Caitlin Burns won the 200-yard medley relay. Other first-place finishers included sophomore Cleo McDermott in the 100-yard butterfly and sophomore Haley Thompson in the 100-yard backstroke. The Blue Devils will have some time off before their next meet, a home matchup with William Smith College on Saturday, October 21st. The men's swimming and diving team began its season on Saturday, taking a 115-48 loss at the hands of Pitt Bradford. Junior Noah Wisniewski took first in both the 100-yard breaststroke and the 100-yard freestyle. Sophomore Aaron Burkett took home first in the 500-yard freestyle as well. The team will be off for 2 more weeks before hosting Hobart College on Saturday, October 21st. The men's and women's cross-country teams were at Houghton for an invitational on Saturday. The men's team placed 5th out of 11 teams. The top 2 Blue Devils, seniors Sembel Koshi and Kyle Campbell, finished less than half a second apart, with Koshi placing 13th and Campbell 14th. In the women's race, Fredonia placed 7th out of 10 teams. Again, in this race, the top 2 Fredonia finishers were close together, with junior Allie Battaglia finishing ahead of junior Arden Brown by just 4 seconds. Battaglia finished in 28th place, while Brown placed 29th. The teams will travel to Geneseo next Saturday for their final regular season meet before the SUNYAC Championships at the end of the month. The women's volleyball team traveled to Buff State last Wednesday for their annual Battle by the Lake matchup, with the Blue Devils falling 3-0. Freshman Olivia Boswell was the overall game leader in assists with 21, and senior Alora Sherman led the team with 18 digs and a pair of aces. Junior Gabrielle Sordetto led the team in kills with 8. Fredonia's record dropped to 3-13 with the loss, and they will have a little time off before their next game, a 6 p.m. matchup on Friday in Brockport. The women's soccer team traveled to Plattsburgh for a conference matchup on Saturday, falling 1-0. Despite the loss, freshman goalkeeper Abby Simkowiak had a strong showing in her second career start, making 9 saves. The loss dropped their overall record to 5-5-2, and they will return to action on Wednesday at 4 p.m. as they travel to Brockport for a SUNYAC matchup. And finally, the men's soccer team hosted conference rival Plattsburgh on Saturday, suffering a 2-1 loss. Junior forward Caleb Stewart struck first for the Blue Devils in the 17th minute, but 2 second-half goals by Plattsburgh's Brian Coughlin sealed Fredonia's fate. The game featured a staggering 10 yellow cards, with 7 against the Blue Devils and 3 against Plattsburgh. The loss dropped Fredonia's record to 5-4-4, and they'll be back home again on Wednesday night for a 7 p.m. tilt with Brockport. In college football news, Miami Hurricanes head coach Mario Cristobal is being heavily criticized this week after deciding not to take a knee and run out the clock at the end of Saturday's game against Georgia Tech. Rather than run out the remainder of the clock, Cristobal decided to run the ball, a decision that left many scratching their heads, especially after running back Don Chaney Jr. fumbled, giving Georgia Tech the ball. Georgia Tech would then go on to score the game-winning touchdown with 2 seconds remaining. And the NFL community is in mourning this week after the death of Hall of Fame linebacker Dick Butkus this past Thursday. Butkus, a University of Illinois graduate, played 9 seasons in the 1960s and 70s, all with his hometown Chicago Bears. Butkus is widely regarded as one of the best linebackers of all time, and his hard-hitting style of play garnered immense popularity to go along with 8 Pro Bowl appearances. He was 80 years old. The Buffalo Sabres concluded their preseason with a whimper, falling 7-4 to the Pittsburgh Penguins on Friday. After allowing a goal just 20 seconds into the game, the Sabres rallied to build a 3-1 lead in the second period, only to allow 5 unanswered Pittsburgh goals. The Sabres finished the preseason with a 3-4 record, and the regular season begins Thursday night as Buffalo plays host to the New York Rangers at 7 p.m. The pregame festivities will begin in Alumni Plaza outside KeyBank Center at around 5 p.m. And the Sabres announced this morning that all-star defenseman Rasmus Dahlin has been re-signed to an 8-year, $88 million contract with an average annual value of $11 million. The 23-year-old defenseman's new contract will begin with the 2024-25 season. Dahlin joins forwards Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins and defenseman Matthias Samuelsson as young members of the Sabres corps signed to long-term deals. And finally, the Buffalo Bills traveled to London for an international matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. It did not go well for the Bills, to say the least. Buffalo lost the game 25-20, a game in which they were penalized 11 times for 109 yards and possessed the ball for only 21 minutes and 48 seconds. The bigger story for the Bills, however, lies in the injury report, as All-Pro linebacker Matt Milano suffered a fractured leg and possibly a season-ending knee injury in the first quarter. He will undergo an MRI today to determine whether or not his ACL is torn and what the overall extent of the damage is. Standout defensive tackle Daquan Jones also left the game with an injury to his pectoral muscle, an injury that Bills head coach Sean McDermott described as, quote, not looking good at this point, end quote. The loss dropped Buffalo's record to 3-2, and they will return home this weekend to host the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football. That's it for your sports update. Let's send it to Sara for the weather.
Now, here is your Northern Chautauqua weather update brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems.
Good afternoon, and I would love some sun after this rainy weekend, but nope, the clouds have other plans. A great way to start a post-break Monday is with strong winds, some light rain, and a cold high of 53. Overshadowing the waning crescent, the showers and clouds continue in the mid-40s. Tomorrow the rain stops, but it's still cloudy, unfortunately. Slightly warmer than today with a high of 56. However, Tuesday has the same strong winds, so watch out for that. That night will range from sprinkles to downpour in the high 40s. That's it for your 2-day weather. Keep listening. I'll be right back with your 5-day forecast. For now, let's take it to Lee for our local music update.
Last Call is hosting rappers at BJ's, featuring Damone Tyrell, Mile High Music, B-Roll Casper, OG Soul, and Rodriguez. The first rappers at BJ's are performing on October 12th, located at 51 West Main Street. Doors are at 9 p.m. and music is at 10 p.m. That's all I have for music this week. Let's bring it to Josh for national and international news.
War broke out on Saturday after the terrorist group Hamas began a surprise attack on Israel, leaving at least 700 Israelis killed and 2,100 wounded. Hamas overwhelmed Israel's Iron Dome, with Israeli officials claiming Hamas fired around 2,500 rockets, whilst Hamas's military commander Mohammed Deif claims they launched around 5,000. It appears that the rockets offered no discrimination between military targets and civilian targets, and neither did the Hamas and Jihad fighters that attacked from within Israel as they rushed the streets, killing and kidnapping civilians. Together, the two terrorist groups claim to be keeping captive more than 130 hostages, expecting the release of thousands of Palestinian prisoners from Israel in exchange. In retaliation, Israel has led a number of airstrikes in the West Bank, targeting the Gaza Strip, hitting more than 800 targets. Israeli Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari has told reporters that Israel seeks to attack places under Hamas use. He stated, quote, "We will continue to attack in this way, with this force, continuously, on all gathering places and routes," end quote. The American State Defense Department released information today saying that at least 9 American citizens had been killed this weekend from the Hamas attacks on Israel. These past few weeks have been big news for union strikes, including the Writers Guild, the Actors Union, and United Auto Workers of America, or UAW. The story continues for UAW as 4,000 employees who work at Mack Trucks walked out this morning at 7 a.m. With these added workers on strike, the UAW claims to now be over 30,000 people strong, with the strike spanning across 22 states. The heavy truck manufacturer employees joined the mass today after they rejected a tentative agreement originally reached on October 1st. According to the Mack Trucks website, quote, "The tentative agreement would deliver a 10% general wage increase in year 1 for all employees and a compounded 20% general wage increase over 5 years. It would also eliminate one wage progression step, giving all employees a faster path to full pay, and provide a $3,500 bonus if ratified on the first vote," end quote. Union President Sean Fain wrote a letter to Volvo Trucks, parent company of Mack Trucks, claiming that 73% of workers voted against the deal on Sunday as they counted the votes. Today, Texas lawmakers will be meeting for the 3rd special legislative session this year. This special session, according to Governor Greg Abbott, will focus on school vouchers that would allow families to use taxpayer dollars to purchase private schooling for their children. The session will also focus on the creation of a state deportation force, and according to Abbott, quote, "Texas will also pass laws to mirror the federal immigration laws President Joe Biden refuses to enforce that will reduce illegal immigration and enhance the safety of Texans," end quote. Also, according to his official proclamation, the governor intends on eliminating COVID-19 vaccine mandates within the Lone Star State. It's believed that these proposals will split the Republican majority in the Texas legislature, and during regular sessions, House Republicans have tended to vote with Democrats in blocking the school voucher program. The Texas Democratic Party has stated their displeasure with Abbott's proposals, with the chair of the party, Gilberto Hinojosa, stating, quote, "It's clear that the Republican Party of Texas is currently operating in a state of chaos, and the only uniting factor is their hatred for migrants and teachers," end quote. The session's outcome remains to be seen until later this day. That does it for today's national and international news. Let's get the latest from Sara with the weather for this week.
Hey Alexa, remind me to get some umbrellas and rain boots for these next couple of days. Wednesday holds various showers throughout the day with a slight chance of thunderstorms and a high of 57. The clouds stay for the night in the cold low 40s. Next on the lineup is a rainy Thursday. No wonder it'll be a cold high of 58 since the clouds and rain will block the sun for most of the day. Falling into the night into the low 40s, expect similar rain and cloud coverage. Last, but certainly not my least favorite, we got a drizzly Friday in the 60s. The drizzle transformed into a heavy downpour later into the night in the low 50s. That's it for your 5-day forecast. Let's take it right back to Lee.
That'll wrap up today's edition of News at Noon. Campus news is written and read by Dan Quagliana. Local news for this broadcast is prepared by Lee Pye. Weather is presented by Sara Lodespoto. Sports is presented by Matt Volz. Music is prepared by Lee Pye. National and international news is prepared by Joshua Ribakove. And finally, board operations for this broadcast are performed by Hunter Halterman. Thanks for tuning in to News at Noon. Join us every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. From all of us at Fredonia Radio Systems, have a wonderful day.